Nick in the Express. Nicola Sturgeon's marriage is over. She's tweeted it or Instagrammed it.
Yeah.
There's Peter Murrell, who's been charged with embezzlement-related offences, but not yet seen the inside of a courtroom.
It's sort of a tragedy, isn't it? Sort of Greek tragedy. It's sort of Macbeth in there somewhere. Because here we had a woman who was the great political communicator for many years and took her party to complete dominance in Scotland. Meanwhile, the husband, who was not so well known, was handling the money.
Yeah.
And suddenly the whole thing has crashed. He, I think, has been charged. She's been going through months of interrogation, though has not yet been charged and may never be. And indeed, he may never be convicted. Yeah. But what has happened is they're in the gutter, basically, in terms of public esteem and reputation. And it's an extraordinary fall from grace.
It is. I mean, she would have been looking at being Secretary General of NATO or something if she'd come out of politics and not had this suddenly hit her. I mean, where the police put a canopy over their garden and everyone said they've dug up the Sturgeon's garden.
Do you remember, yeah?
Yeah. It wasn't the case, actually. But it's... I don't know what to think. I mean, in the end, they were described as Scotland's power couple, which sounds like a kind of contradiction in terms. What do you think of it?
I think it turned out to be Scotland's powerless couple, obviously. I mean, the thing is that it does have elements of a Greek tragedy to it. If we remember Sturgeon during the pandemic, where she very much embraced proactively the role of elder statesman as she took to the podium and as if to say,
Translation, wanted to be on TV every day.
Well, yes, that's one interpretation, where she poked the bear and said to Westminster, you're doing this is how we're doing it. Very kind of austere regulations and restrictions in Scotland. Obviously, she succeeded Alex Salmond, who had his own fall from grace, if you like, posthumously as well.
Well, the two of them fell out in a big way.
And they had a spectacular falling out. And yet there were a lot of very nice things were said about her when she did step down, because she was regarded, no pun intended, but some kind of political pygmy because of the way she tried to say, look at me, I'm being very elder statesman.
She was a great communicator,
but she did have a gift of communicating.
Yeah, for sure.
She didn't steer, the Scotnats didn't exactly do great things for Scotland in terms of education, in terms of health. And yet, this is like you said, it's the stuff of Greek tragedy. It is
the background to it
Macbeth-like.
is complicated, but essentially it's about money that was raised to fight a second referendum, which then never happened. And someone smart said, well, hang on, you raised the money, you didn't have the campaign. Where's the money? And I'm not clear whether they ever found it, but in the middle of all that, someone said, wait a minute, they've bought a motorhome and it's parked outside one of their houses. And so that's every time we got into the habit of showing, I don't even know if that is the motorhome. We got into the habit of showing that almost every day while it was going on.
I think you've got a grudging respect for motorhomes.
Well, also, I gather the motorhome has been impounded in a place where it can't be photographed. So I don't know how the police have done that.
But anyway, think it appeals to your inner hippie, the idea of the motorhome and taking the band on the road.
Yeah, I
can't do that on a bike.
I think that, as we know, work and friendship or work and love usually should be kept separate. And the idea that they've gone into this situation and they can't escape it at home because they're both suspects in a case for a while, and what was going on in that marriage? You just wonder.
Completely.
Anyway, there we are.